Hello, fellow diamond painting addicts, and welcome back to Diamond Painting Anonymous. I'm Daphne, and I'm here today for this week's Whip and Chat. If you're new here, welcome. If you're not new here, welcome back. Whip and Chat is WIP, W-I-P, which stands for Work in Progress. This is my work in progress. I'm going to be chatting. You are welcome and encouraged to go grab whatever project you're working on and work alongside while I chat. Alternatively, you can treat this like a podcast. So, this is the project that I'm going to be working on. If you're new to the channel, I am currently in the midst of my September challenge. I am trying to complete 30 by 30s in 30 days. So, this is the current project. Things are weird in YouTube time, so I don't know how long it's going to be before you guys actually see this one, but eventually it will show up. So if you follow me on my socials, I am on Instagram at diamondpaintinganonymous. You can follow me there where I post pics of my daily progress, or you can join my Facebook group. Links for that and all my other socials are down below so that you can see the pictures as they are posted. Would love to have you join any and all of those and share everything to your friends, you guys. While I'm thinking about it, if you'd hit that like button and that subscribe button, that would help me out immensely. So I think I have everything ready to go. I've got my notes, I've got a drink, I've got my drills, I've got my canvas, I've got a tray, I've got pins, I've got my timer. I think that's everything I need. So I'm going to move things around a bit, zoom in so you can see where I'm working. This is actually I say one of. Yeah, I think I have two squares. All the rest of my 30 by 30s are rounds. This is one of the squares. So I'm anxious to see how quickly this one goes because I'm kind of trying to keep track of my time in all of these to see how quickly I can get them done. Okay, so I'm going to go zoom in, get things situated. I'll be right back. Don't go anywhere. Okay, guys, I'm back, and I'm just going to jump in. So let's see. I'm going to start with a life update. That's generally where I start, so that's what I'm going to do. Helps if I pull back the cover sheet here. There we go. So, life update. What's been going on? You guys, this has been an insane week. Where do I even start? First things first, my oldest finally found a job. Yay! So, she is going to be working at a school district, which is not her dream job, but it's a job, and she's fine with that until she can, figure out what she wants to do, where she wants to go. So, she's excited about that. And it's been kind of a crazy couple of days for her. So, she found out that she got this job, and then she was calling to get some appointments made and things that she'd been putting off until she knew for sure that she had a job. And she went in and she had money missing from her bank account that she hadn't spent. And it was a bunch of $20 withdrawals from someplace she'd never heard of. So she goes and looks it up, and it is someplace that sells cryptocurrency out of Switzerland. And so she sends me a text and she's like, "Mom, what do I do?" And I'm like, "Well, looks like somebody's got a hold of your card information, so you need to cancel your card." We use a very small local bank who unfortunately is not open on the weekends. Now, there was, because of course this was like, I want to say Saturday night. It might have been Sunday night. And so we found a number that was good all the time where she could call and cancel her card. So she was able to do that. And then I said, you need to call the bank first thing in the morning and find out what's going on. It was like $180 total that had been taken out. And so she went and looked up where this place was, and it's this cryptocurrency place. And I'm like, well, that definitely sounds like somebody got a hold of your information and is trying to steal your money. So she talks to the bank, and the bank's like, well, it still shows as pending. It doesn't look like it's going to come out for another week, which I don't know why it would take a week, but whatever. And so they told her, if you can, try and get a hold of whatever this place is and talk to them first, because if they can do it on their end, it's going to be a lot faster. So she goes online and, finds their information, finds some place to email and sends an email to them and says basically, someone's stolen my information. I have all these charges for your business that were not authorized by me. And basically, after a couple of back and forth emails with this place, um, they told her they'd refund her money, that they had stopped the payments, they wouldn't go through, but it would take, well, I guess I shouldn't say that. They may go through, but they told her that they would be refunding the money, but it could take, of course, up to 2 weeks. I always find that so amazing. They can take your money instantaneously, but they can't give it back to you instantaneously. So that was annoying. However, at least she's going to get the money back. So she was excited, um, because she was very indignant. And I'm looking at it going, well, it's $180. It could have been a lot worse. Not to minimize that $180 is a lot of money, but they could have cleaned out her bank account, and she just happened to be looking at something and happened to see the charges that day that they, kind of went through. And um so she got lucky. But yeah. So I just told her she canceled her card and got a new card and got everything squared away. But I said, you need to be a lot careful, obviously. Be a lot more careful about what you do online. And she admitted that, yeah, she probably did need to be a little bit more careful, but so it's all good. So it's a weird week for her. She got a job, and then she lost some money. She got some money back, so she's all good. Um, for the rest of us, I've been back in physical therapy. It's going well. But he has discovered that apparently it's not really my knee that's the issue, it's my hip. And so he's been doing a lot of stuff with my hip. And I've also developed some tendonitis/bursitis in my elbow. And so he has been kind of working it over pretty hard to try and get me back to where, I'm functional. And um, so it's been good. I will say today I'm really sore in a couple of places. But I think he was pretty aggressive with some of his therapy yesterday or Friday. And it's been really rainy here today, which is great. We've needed the rain, and it's cooler than usual. Um, in fact, it's so cool today and so rainy that my husband's going to be making chicken and noodles for dinner. And uh, I'm actually going to make a pumpkin pie so we can have pie for dessert because it's cool. So, and I mean, that sounds crazy when half the rest of the world is having heat stroke right now, but it's usually hot here still, and it isn't. It's high 60s, low 70s today, plus rainy, which makes it feel even cooler. But I think that's part of why I'm extra sore today. Not only was he kind of aggressive at my last therapy, but the rain messes with me. And so I think that's part of it. But I'm hopeful that it's going to make a big difference and things will be better. So there's that. And and then, oh, you guys. So, we've been uh, um we've applied to have permanent residency in Canada, and we basically have been stuck in waiting. We applied back in April, and we got the paperwork sent back because I had forgotten. I didn't include something for my daughter, which I didn't know I needed to include because she's not going with us. Um, but apparently, just because she's family, we have to treat it as if she's going. So, got the extra paperwork that we needed, got everything done, sent it in. Sent it in towards the end of June and hadn't heard anything back. So, we're just in this kind of waiting/holding pattern. And So we've just been waiting. And actually, my husband's in a Facebook group and of people who are doing the same thing. And so we got in there and said, okay, we've been waiting for this letter. How long does it take? And people were like, oh, it can take, anywhere from 3 to 4 months before you even get the letter. Okay, cool. So we thought, okay, so we're good. We'll just wait a couple more months. It'll be fine. A couple of days after that, my husband gets an email saying that we need to pay the biometric fees, which we had gone through that on the website. The website told us, according to the information on there, that we didn't need to pay it. So we hadn't. So we get this email saying, well, before we can go any further, you need to pay these biometric fees. Okay, fine. So we paid them. And we thought, okay, they've at least started apparently processing it. So that's good. But I said, that's weird. Hopefully we'll get our letter in a couple of days or soon saying that they're starting to process the application, or at least that they've accepted it and are going to start processing it. And he says, okay. So a couple of days after that, he gets an email that says, yes, we got your receipt or we got your payment for the biometric fees. So we were like, okay, good, got that email. Almost immediately while he's reading that email, he gets another one that says basically to him, congratulations, you've been deemed eligible to sponsor someone for permanent residency. So basically, he's not a Canadian criminal, so he's allowed to bring his family in. And so we're going, okay, cool, that's awesome. Immediately after that, literally while we're reading these two previous emails, he gets a third email. And it says, hey, we've received your application. We're going to begin processing it, blah, 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 which was the letter we've been waiting for. Okay, great. Everything is now on track. It looks like the second time I sent everything in that I needed to. They're going to start processing it. And everything we'd seen from, the people in his Facebook group and stuff that we'd read online, once we get that letter, that's where they start processing it. And it could be anywhere from 5 to 12 months. Okay, cool. But we're in the line, they're working on it, and things are moving. So that's good. While we're sitting there talking about that, in quick succession, he gets 3 more emails. Boom, 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 boom. And we go in and look, and we're applying for him to sponsor me and my youngest. My oldest, again, is staying here. She's not going with us. So, however, even though she's not going with us, she has to apparently do all the things. So the next step is that we need to have medical exams, which is fine. I completely understand why. The kicker is you can only have them done by a panel physician that Canada has approved. Okay, cool. Where do we go for those? And we go in and look, and you look by state. There are none in our state. 0. Zilch. Okay, let's look at surrounding states. There's none in Nebraska. Okay, so we can't drive to Nebraska. We look at Missouri because Missouri has Kansas City. We figure that's a big area. Maybe there'll be one up there. Nope, not one in Kansas City, but there is one in St. Louis. Okay, call the one in St. Louis. That office is closed. Doesn't exist anymore. Okay, great. That was the only one listed in Missouri, so I guess Missouri's out. So we look at Colorado. There's one in Denver, which is okay, but that's like an 8-hour drive. And we only have 30 days to get this done and get everything sent back. Okay. So let's look at Oklahoma. Look at Oklahoma. There's one. Okay. And he's in Tulsa. Okay. Tulsa's only like a 4-hour drive. That's better than 8 hours to Denver. Let's call him. My husband calls him. Yes, he does it, but he's only going to be doing it for 1 more week. So if we want him to do it, we have to be there this coming week. My husband says, okay, goes ahead and makes an appointment. And at the time, we didn't know that the St. Louis one and some of these other ones, we hadn't had time to look it all up. But we thought at least we'll have that one. And then if we need to make changes or whatever, we can. So then reading these letters, we have to take photographs. Now, keep in mind, we've already provided passport, driver's licenses, both contain photos, and we had to have passport photos taken previously. So we have to each have four photos of each one of us. So 12 photos, because my daughter has to have this done too. Again, even though she's not going, she has to go have this exam done with us and everything. And I mean, it's just a very basic medical exam. It's not anything, huge or whatever. It's just a doctor's office visit, and that's it. Okay. We have to take these 4 photos. So now we have to go take more photos because I didn't keep copies of any of the old other ones we'd taken. We had to send them all in with our application package. So we all trooped down to the Walgreens to get our photos taken. And we have to bring copies of our COVID vaccinations, which we have all those, so that's not a big deal. And then they want copies of either our passports or our driver's licenses. So I got to make copies of that. And then if any of us are on regular medication, we have to bring whatever that is. Luckily, my son and I are not on any regular medication, so it's just my daughter. And then there's a form that they also emailed us that we have to take for each one of us. Okay, cool. So this doctor is telling my husband all these things that we need to bring. And he says, oh, by the way, we have to pay for that, which, I knew we would. It's not something our insurance is going to cover. I knew it was just going to be an out-of-pocket expense. It's $500 a person for these exams, which seems insane. And we have to have 3 of them. But, I told my husband, what are we going to do? It's not like we have a ton of options. There's literally, like, I went out and looked. 0 of these doctors in Maine, which I thought was crazy because it's right on the border of Canada. They had 3 in Texas, but that's like, 2 of them were in Houston. That's like a 12-hour drive for us. We could go to Dallas, which is like a 6-hour drive. But I mean, so basically these people have monopolies. And when we asked in the Facebook group, everyone said, yeah, that's pretty much what everybody charges. So, oh, and we have to pay in cash or money order. He doesn't take checks. He doesn't take credit cards. He doesn't take debit cards, which I get not wanting to take people's personal checks. I'm always amazed that they don't want to take debit cards because literally it tells you whether or not it went through. I mean, I guess maybe that just means that you had a valid bank account, but whatever. So now we have to stop and get a cashier's check or a money order or something to take with us to pay for all of these when we go see him this week. And it was crazy. Like I was about to have a meltdown that day because it was just so many things. It was, excited for my daughter because this is all one day. Excited for my daughter to have a job. Excited. It must have been. It wasn't a Sunday. It must have been Thursday night. Sorry, my phone's going off. It must have been Thursday night because my husband was making all these phone calls on Friday and my daughter was able to go to the bank. So it must have been on Friday. So all of this Thursday night was when we were getting all of the emails. Thursday night was when my daughter called to say she had the job. Thursday night was when she called to say, hey, somebody is stealing money out of my bank account. And I'm like, oh, you guys, I can't take anymore. I told my husband, if any more emails come in, I can't, don't tell me because I can't, my brain is on overload. I'm just, huh. So, it's hilarious to me that we've spent all this time waiting and trying to, just sitting back waiting on things. And then all of a sudden, just within the space of a week, all of this stuff is happening. And so, yeah, I mean, it's fine now, but those first couple of hours, I was like, I can't, it's too much. Stop talking to me. My brain has to process some of this first. And at the time, I was also trying to film a video because I was behind on my filming and I was trying to finish, my diamond painting for the day. And it was like, I have too many things going on. My brain is full. So it was kind of crazy. So that's where we are. We get to we've gotten our photographs. We have to stop and get a cashier check our money order. And I've got to make some photocopies of stuff before we go. But other than that, and it just so happened to work out because I was afraid my daughter was, going to start this job and then she's going to have to be like, I'm sorry, I have to go, I need to take a day off. And so I said to her, you need to let them know as soon as possible that you're going to be gone this day. And it turns out she can't start that soon anyway. She's got to have a TB test and some other stuff. Um, when you work in public schools, you have to do like bloodborne pathogen training and first aid training and a bunch of other stuff. And so she's probably going to be doing a bunch of that before she can actually get in the classroom. So she won't, they didn't have a problem with her taking off and everything. So I was like, okay, cool. Because that would have been terrible to have to, be like, I'm sorry, you have to go with us because we have to get this done. So it worked out well that this guy is quitting, I guess, because that means we got in as soon as possible. We got it done. We're going to well be within that 30-day window. And if anything should go wrong or something, then, we've got extra time if we need to do anything else. So it was just, all this stuff fast and furious. And then once we're done on Wednesday, it's probably going to be back to sitting around twiddling our thumbs and waiting. So crazy. And, thinking about we have to pay $500 a person for these exams, we're going to end up paying more for these medical exams between that and the photos than we did to apply for the whole permanent residency application itself, which is nuts. So, anyway, so yeah, so it was just a crazy week, crazy couple of days. And then my husband and I were talking, and he has decided that he would rather just move straight to Maine or straight to Canada instead of stopping in Maine first, which I'm okay with. We had gone back and forth about what we wanted to do, and a lot of it is really kind of on his shoulders because he's the one that will be working and he needs to figure out, what he wants to do for work, what he can do for work. He's looked at some options. Um, And he thought he'd found something in Nova Scotia, but basically you have to settle in Nova Scotia, which is not what he wants to do. I mean, we'd be fine with that, but that just puts us too far away from his folks. And so he's been kind of rethinking what he wants to do. And he's like, yeah, I think I would rather just go straight up there. I'm like, okay, I'm cool with that. So it'll be cheaper in the long run because we won't be trying to maintain a residence in two places. We may change our minds and start to do that somewhere down the road, but we'll see what happens. And I'm trying to kind of let go and not worry about every single little thing and just kind of go with the flow until, things shake out. So yeah, we'll see. Let's see, what else? Oh, some exciting news. Uh, my son is again making fun of me for being an Apple shill. That's his favorite thing to call me because I've kind of converted everything over into the Apple ecosystem. I have an iPhone, I have a Mac computer, and I have an Apple Watch. Oh, and I have an iPad. So he's constantly making fun of me. He still has an Android phone. He doesn't like the Apples, which is fine. I use them for a very specific purpose. Honestly, the only reason I ended up with an iPhone was because that was my husband's hand-me-down, and I'm cheap and I don't like to just get a new phone because the latest one came out. I typically keep them until they die. So, you know, if he gets a new one, because he likes to keep up on it, then I'll take his old hand-me-down. Um, but I mean, the phone I'm currently using is an 11, I believe, an iPhone 11. But it was again a hand-me-down. Before that, I had been using a I think it was a Samsung. I can't even remember now. But I've had a Motorola, and I have had a couple of Blackberries, and so you know, I was always Android too until I started kind of taking his hand-me-downs. And then um, I kind of got stuck. And then when my PC died, I decided to move over to the Apple PC just because that made it easier with some of the stuff with my phone and what I was doing with filming and all that kind of stuff. So, for those of you who don't know, the newest Apple iPhone is coming out in the next few weeks. And our cell phone carrier is having a deal where basically we can trade in our old phones, and I'm going to get the new iPhone Pro for $5 a month because I'm trading in my old iPhone, which is a pretty good deal. So we did have to do a little bit of finagling with our plans and things, but it's actually going to save us money in the long run. So, because we have Verizon and they do lots of screwy things, and my husband used to get an employee discount, and then they changed a bunch of their plans and they're no longer offering that employer discount. And so, and they want everyone to move to their new unlimited plans, and we were already on an unlimited plan but not the one they wanted us on, and all this stuff. So anyway, the upshot of it is we could get new phones. I'm going to get a new one for $5 a month, and we're going to get uh, free international roaming in Canada and Mexico. So that means that we hopefully can take our phones with us up there and maintain the same phone and phone number even though we're in Canada. I'm not for sure on that yet, but we've been told that other people have done it, so we'll see what happens. At the very least, if we travel up there, we'll have free data up there, which is always nice. And so we did that. So I'm going to get my iPhone Pro for $5 a month. And I got the purple, which I told my husband, it always seems kind of silly to me to pick a color because it just gets covered up with a case. so, so, you know, but the purple was pretty. So I said yes. And I wasn't going to get the Pro either. My husband's getting just the iPhone 14, and his is going to be nothing with his trade-in. It isn't going to cost us anything. So, you know, I considered doing that, but then he was like, well, if you get the Pro, it has a better camera, and since you're using it for filming, and it's got a couple of other kind of camera features that he thinks I would really like and would get some use out of. So I said, okay. So I'm getting that one, and he's getting the other one. And then, of course, as soon as he ordered it, oh, I should have gotten myself the Pro. I should do this. I should do that. I'm like, well, then go change your order. This is a pre-order. They're not out yet. So, I said, you know, go. No, I'll just do, okay. Well, then don't complain to me. Well, then he was happy because when we got everything finished, he's going to get his a week before I do. His is due to arrive sometime next week, and mine won't be here for 2 weeks, which is kind of stinky, but whatever. It's a new phone, and I haven't had one in a while, so I'm not going to complain. We asked my son if he wanted one too, but he has an Android phone, and so he was perfectly happy keeping his Android phone. He doesn't need one yet. I have a sneaking suspicion now that I've offered to get one, he'll probably be like, hey, can I have this one? So we'll see. And he hasn't had a new phone in probably 5 years. So it's all good. So yeah, that's been my crazy week, you guys. It was, you know, kind of a boring week. I was just working on stuff, and then all of a sudden Thursday night, boom, everything hit. So I gotta say, I like the squares. I like how they fit together. Not a fan of these light colors where it ends up having all this gapping. That drives me crazy. But that's just how it goes with these light colors. If it was a dark color, you wouldn't see any of these gaps. So I'm just going to live with it. And I could be multi-placing these, but I decided it would probably be smarter of me to do some single placing while I was talking, because I have a tendency while I'm talking to kind of not pay attention to what I'm doing. So this way I can only mess up one diamond at a time instead of a whole row of them, right? So, okay, so is that everything for my life update? I think so. Okay, so diamond painting update. Oh, how long did this take? How long have I been talking for? Okay, not too terribly long. You guys, sometimes I feel like I've been talking for hours and it's only 15 minutes. And then other times it goes by in a snap and I'm like, it's been 45 minutes already? What? Time is weird. Or it's all wibbly wobbly for you sci-fi fans out there. Anyway, okay, so done with the life update, on to diamond painting update. What's going on in my diamond painting world? Well, as you can see, I'm working on my September challenge. It's been going really well so far, and I'm really happy with it. I'm going to be getting some good diamond painting hours out of it for the month, which is awesome. I've been practicing with my multi-placers. My multi-placer, this is my 10 placer from Everlasting Tips. I'm still kind of learning it. I can actually place with it, but for some reason the number 10 drill eludes me. I get 9 on there straight, and then my number 10 will go wonky. So at the moment, I'm blaming it on the tip and the fact that I've been using round drills with it. And I'm wondering if it just might not work better with squares, which is why I brought it in here. But then I decided it was probably safer if I just single placed instead of multi-place. So, whatever. Anyway, it is getting me a lot of practice with my multi-placer, so that's good. Because previously, really 4 was as big as I could go and place consistently. I'm up to, definitely can do a 6 and pretty comfortable with a 9 placer. So I feel like I'm making progress. So that's been good. So I only need 1 drill. So there's that. It is going well for the challenge, although I do have to admit that I'm kind of afraid. It's been, do a full drill, do a partial, do a full drill, do a partial. At some point, I'm going to run out of partials. And so I'm kind of afraid that I'm not, especially like with the square one, I don't know if I'll get this finished in one day. I'm going to try, but I don't know if I will. And so that kind of, that's why I stuck the partials in there, because I knew that maybe some of these would take me a little bit more time than I wanted. But we'll see. I'm, like I said, trying to alternate them so that if I don't get one finished, I could finish a partial in just a couple of hours. That counts for that day. And then I could work ahead. And if one like this took me actually over 2 days to finish, that would be okay. I'm not far enough into it yet to know whether my plan is going to work. So I'm going to give it another week or so, and then I'll kind of evaluate at that point what I'm going to do. I have done enough kits at this point that I need to finish kitting up my additional ones. I have, I think, 4 or 5 more full drill ones that I had put off kitting up, mostly because they were ones that have a lot of white in the background, and I just didn't want to do a ton of diamond paintings where the background was nothing but white. So this is technically not white. This is like a really pale blue, but it looks white next to everything else. So the cloud is going to be actually white, the clouds in this. So, but I had a couple of elephant ones that had kind of this same color. and it looks white, when you put it next to a color. So anyway, because they show the gaps and any kind of mistakes you make, I just didn't want that to be kind of the only 30 by 30s that I was doing. So I tried to find a lot of choices that would let me have a background color other than white. Like, if you saw the video with my finishes for the first week, um, I had a panda in there where the background was like the night sky, so it was all kind of different shades of blue and dark blue, and that was nice that it wasn't white. I mean, even this is not as bad as white, but almost. So anyway, I have other 30 by 30s that I have ordered. Unfortunately, they have not arrived, and I don't know when they're going to because I ordered them almost a month ago now. So I'm going to just have to bite the bullet, I guess, and do some of those. But that lets me get them out of, my way. They're not laying around in my craft room. They're not in my stash anymore. They're done. And I can move on. I do have some ideas for some things that I'm going to be doing with these canvases for, videos that I'm going to use these finished canvases for, to show, like how I frame some of these, how I finish some of these, how I put them in my portfolio, um, that kind of thing. Most of them will probably end up in a portfolio, but we'll see. I'm currently just kind of keeping them piled around my craft room as I finish them. So I would like to do a montage video at the end of the month, and so I'm trying to keep them in some kind of order of as I finish them. So I guess I could just go back and look at my logbook and see what order I'm doing them in. But so I've got some projects like that. I've got some other video ideas that I want to work on. I have a comparison project I want to do. I have still other goals that I need to meet. I'm still working on my Big 10. I need to unbox a couple of things. I've got my Distracted by Diamonds and my Craftably, now that they've arrived, that I could unbox and work on. I've got my Drills and Chills that I need to work on. I've got my Heaven and Earth designs to work on. No idea if I'm going to finish any or all of those things before the end of the year. I also have my own DP for vets coming up in November. And of course, once we hit December, everything just gets crazy. So, and every time I turn around, I feel like I see a new diamond painting event, which is great. I love that people are having events, but I don't know how how people keep track of everything. I mean, for me, it's easier, or at least I guess I feel like it's easier for me because, like, for Drills and Chills, I'm not participating for any of the prizes. So, I'm calling that my Drills and Chills canvas. But if I don't finish it by October 31st, it's not the end of the world to me. I wasn't competing for the prizes anyway. So if I miss the deadline, that part of it is not a big deal to me. I still want to meet my goals, so I need to finish it so that I can get working on some of my other Big 10 canvases. But that's why I'm trying to figure out the multi-placing so that I can work faster, work smarter, not harder, right? So, hopefully multi-placing will let me do that. And let's see. I'm also going to, I think, my husband and I have talked about it. It's kind of a big expense and I hate to do it, but because of all of my issues with my knees and my hips and everything, one of the things that supposedly will help is to have an adjustable height desk. So have a desk that I can either sit at and or move and have it standing height. And truth be told, I spend and have spent over the last probably 3 months more time sitting at my dining room table diamond painting than I have at my drafting table because my drafting table is just small. I mean, it's not tiny. I want to say it's like 48 by 20 or something like that. And I like that it angles. But honestly, I didn't get the one that had any flat space. So the entire thing with all the little cubbies and stuff on the side tilts. So I lose a lot of inches because of those cubbies. And then, when you tilt it, because the whole thing tilts, I don't have any place to like set my drills, keep my pins, anything like that. So I had to have another table sitting next to me, which kind of defeated the purpose. And I've been working on such big diamond paintings. I don't like rolling mine up. I want to lay them out flat as much as possible. So I've been on my dining room table because it's the biggest table in the house and I can spread everything out. But no one else in the house cares that I'm taking over the dining room table, but I care and it's driving me bananas. And so now that we need to get this kind of adjustable height table for me anyway, I wanted to get a bigger one. And so my husband and I have found one, but it's kind of expensive. And then I'm like, well, what do I do with the drafting table? I don't want to just chuck it because I could still use it, but I don't want to clutter up our entire living room with all my diamond painting furniture either. So, and I do want a table out there where he is because he spends most of his evenings on the couch watching TV and, just kind of puttering. And um, so I like to be together with him because he's gone a lot during the day. He works 10-hour days. And so, that time that we have, even if we're just sitting in the room together, is time that we want to spend together. But I also don't want to fill up our living room with a bunch of tables for my crafting. So we're going to have to get creative, I think. But I found a table that, while not as big as my dining room table, it is quite a bit larger than my current drafting table. I think my husband's going to take the drafting table over and move it downstairs for some of the stuff that he does because he's working on card tables right now. This would give him something that was a little more sturdy and a little easier to clean because it's glass. And then I'll just have my adjustable height table and I'll be able to go from there. And it will let me spread things out. I mean, again, it's not going to be as big as my dining room table, but it'll be considerably bigger than what I have now. And that way we can have our dining room table back for dining, which it hasn't been used for in quite some time. So I haven't ordered it yet. Of course, as soon as I said I need this and I've been looking at him, he's like, okay, go ahead and get it. And I'm like, but it's this much money. Well, it's okay. I'm like, but you won't buy new work boots for yourself that cost literally half of what I'm going to spend on this table. Well, it is for you, so it's okay. I'm like, so I have his blessing to buy the table anytime I want, but no place here local carries it. Even if we go into the big city, they're not. I would have to order it and have it shipped and delivered and all that. So I'm just going to order it on Amazon. It'll probably be less expensive anyway. And so I'm kind of looking forward to that to see if it helps with my issues. I think physical therapy is making a difference, and hopefully if I make some changes like the standing table and doing some of that, that'll kind of wrap all that stuff up. So, and then let's see, just the last couple of things. So I'm contemplating whether or not I want to change my video posting schedule. Currently, I post 5 days a week, Monday, Wednesday, Friday, and then I post both on Saturday and Sunday. Definitely want to keep the whip and chats because I enjoy these. So those would not go away. But I was debating, do I want to keep the 5 days a week? Do I want to get rid of my Saturdays? I went in and had a look at some of my analytics and numbers and things, and there's no real definitive, okay, definitely this day is generally just not a lot of watching, and that would be a good day to get rid of things. It's very kind of hit and miss. So I've got to do a little bit more digging and see. I just feel like maybe next year I need to cut back a little bit because the projects I want to do are all a little bit bigger, a little bit more involved. And so, I don't want to do a video just for the sake of doing a video. I want to bring you content that is, meaningful and informative. And so I need to kind of figure out what I want to do. I've been putting it off because, as you all know, I hate looking at all the analytics and stuff. I feel like there's too much information sometimes, and sometimes it's not really broken down in a helpful way. Like, I wanted to look by day of the week. I can look by date, but then I have to stop and figure out, well, which day was, okay, what day was the 5th? What day was the 24th? What month is this? So what day of the week was that? And there's no real easy way to do it that way. I wonder if there's a way I could probably download some of that information and then put it in a spreadsheet and sort it differently, but that's a lot of numbers and thinking, and I'd rather diamond paint. So my schedule may change next year. It may change later this year. I don't really know, but we'll see. Just kind of, things I'm thinking about. What can I do to keep the channel growing? What can I do to bring people, good and informative and relatable content? And speaking of that, I see so many diamond painters who have Patreons. And so I was curious if any of you are patrons of any diamond painters. And if so, do you find it valuable? What do you get for your money, and is it worth it to you? Do you do it simply because you like that person and you want to support them? Does it, you know, like I know some of them offer like vote on their next project or get shout outs in videos and stuff like that. Um, so I'm just curious what people think, what do you consider a good bang for your buck in that respect? Or is it simply that you really like that person and you want to support them? Which is great. If that's the simplest answer, then I'm cool with that. I'm just curious. I've never actually been anybody's patron before. I have a lot of shows and YouTubers that I watch that I've considered it. I just haven't done it yet. And so I'm really curious. I do a lot of planning with I use a paper planner, and I do a lot with stickers and things like that. You guys know I have my cutting machine and stickers that I use not only for diamond painting, but for planning and things like that. And I know a lot of those people in that world, the planning world, the sticker world, have Patreons as well. And some of them send out physical things like, sticker packs or whatever for a month. Some of them you just get to vote on what new items should they put in their Etsy shop next month, that kind of thing. So, is it the thrill of getting to determine what somebody's working on as a project? Is it the thrill of I'm going to get this freebie thing? I'm just curious behind people's motivations behind doing that. Yeah, because I'm nosy, I guess. That's all what it boils down to. I'm nosy. Okay. I feel like I've made some pretty good progress. Again, not thrilled with the gapping that I'm seeing here, but it is what it is when you're talking about these light colors. They aren't the greatest drills. They're not the worst drills I've ever had either. So, and they don't, well, some of them do have tabs on them. They're not at all. I mean, I've had some name brand kits who've had worse drills. So that one has a little corner on it. I didn't notice at first. So let me fix that one. So we'll sit a bit closer. Let me go back and look at some of these where there's gaps, and that one seems like small. Can I get it off there? Oh, I hope I'm not moving the camera doing it. I forgot to bring my tweezers in here. And the tweezers I have are not going to be, they're just plastic ones, so they're not going to be any good to me trying to pick drills off, really. Wouldn't be able to get in there anyway. Yeah, that's much better. Okay, Okay, guys, I think I'm going to call that there. So let me zoom out so you guys can see how much I got done. So yeah, you can definitely see the gaps in that. I can actually see them a little bit worse now that I'm standing up instead of sitting down. I'll go through with my straightener and straighten out what I can and make them fit together a little bit better. But they're actually not that bad. Just, again, these light colors. That's one of the reasons I don't like these white backgrounds, because I don't ever think they look as good as a darker color would. Like, I'd have been much happier if this whole thing had kind of been a dark blue or something, which I guess I could have just pulled out some spares and done that, but things I don't think about until after I've started a project. So anyway, that's it for me today, guys. Thank you so much for sticking around till the end. Before you leave, don't forget to do all the things. If you like this video, give it a thumbs up. That helps me out a lot. Hit that subscribe button. That helps me out even more. And hit that bell notification icon so that you can be informed of future uploads. And as always, guys, thanks so much for watching.